Hi, you're listening to the In Motion podcast. I'm your host, Austin Jameson, and today we have a very funny comedian. She's known all around town. Please give it up for Danika Thibault.
You are listening to the In Motion podcast with your host, Austin Jameson.
I wonder what's gonna happen to you. Hey. Okay. There's a bunch of bugs all around you. What are you gonna do now? Run around? Cry about it? Hey, every day I'm doing science things on the computer, man. Hey, hey, I wonder what's gonna happen to you, man. Hey, what's gonna happen to you, man?
Next week, we'll be finding out how many carrots.
Okay, so we've got mimosas that we're rocking here. I'm gonna top mine up. I don't know.
Yeah, actually, give me a splash. Give me an extra splash. It's a sunny, beautiful day, an amazing day to be podcasting.
Great Saturday.
It's like anytime there's a sunny day, I'm for some reason podcasting. It's like, how about you go for a hike? How about you to go walk in the park?
Nah, we're just content machines.
Addicted to the microphone.
Addicted to the stage time, baby.
Sitting in lawn chair. This is how I should do stand-up.
Isn't it?
Yeah, sitting in the lawn chair.
I've thought about the idea. If we had a bigger stage, I love a motherfucker sitting down on a chair like they don't care.
I should do rocking chair comedy.
It'd be hilarious.
Yeah, kind of like sitting, telling a tale.
We had someone come for a show recently, and he was someone that I had never seen in the scene before, like just like randomly got on the lineup, and I was like, okay, whatever.
Your own show, you're like, okay, how did this happen?
Yeah, right. Well, a lot of the times, right, most of the time I'm not booking the shows,
That's
right?
True, that's
so he got booked on the show, and they put him up Bullet, and I'd never seen him before, and I was like, are you sure? Like, I just always think you gotta have such a strong fucking, right off the gate with the Bullet, and the guy came up, and the whole fucking time he was just like sitting on the stool.
Whoa.
And I was like, this is ballsy as fuck. And no, it wasn't good. Like, it wasn't like, oh, this is like genius. He was doing like Chat GPT style like jokes about like,
amazing.
Put in like Anthony Jeselnik shock humor, but through Chat GPT. It was like really bizarre just to see. And then the next person went up who was like a regular pro, it was like, okay, like had to totally reset from that fucking weird intro,
Sitting on the stool Bullet that's bold.
It's so bold.
That's bold.
I also just think like to have that kind of like confidence, I don't know, at least for me, sometimes when somebody is like hasn't been up before, a lot of the times they're making like at least some kind of acknowledgement to the idea of like, oh, it's my like MOTN debut show or whatever, and it's just something that I've noticed, and it's like cool, whatever, like it's nice to be seen that way. But then for someone that I've never seen on like another lineup or anything to just like kind of like big dick walk in and just like, I'm gonna sit on the microphone and none of you on the lineup know who I am.
Damn.
I'm not from out of town and like a big deal elsewhere. It's just like, I'm in it right now, like I'm gonna do my jokes about like fucking a dead mom's corpse or something. You're like, okay, buddy.
I love it. To sit on a stool, since I'm short, is actually like not possible for me, as there's no way for me to sit on a stool and for not to be like extremely humiliating.
Yeah.
So I will never be a stool comic unless the stool is custom.
Unless the stool is like custom.
They're like,
Danika's
gonna do her stool bet. You guys bring out this like short little Smurf stool.
Well, I've heard of comics bringing their own mics before because sometimes if they don't have like a Shure mic, like the classic mic.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Mark Maron used to do that, which sounds very accurate to
That-
Mark
yeah,
Maron.
that
That checks out. That you could be the comic that brings their own stool with.
It's like this giant backpack, like just strapped to my back. And like, mind if I use my own stool for this one, guys?
Oh my god.
But I would never bring my own mic because I'm scared to plug things in.
Yeah, the plugging.
The
also,
plugging in.
just it seems like kind of like an asshole move. You know?
Yeah, it does. I'm like, to show up with your own mic, or
I get it if they've got like an old timey like 50s like big box mic and you're like, I don't want to do like this shit, like
okay, that would be fun. I
would
would like that.
Of course, I get it to a degree, but it's like how many people don't have that classic
Classic mic. Well, there's been some scary. I've had some scary mics.
I've heard this actually. I've heard the mics where they've got the on and off switches on them. Like why?
The on and off mics, or mics where it's a clamp, like a music clamp stand.
Yeah.
I've had the mic sort of fall down as I go on stage. Kind of like the mic was like, we don't even want to hear it from this girl. The mic was like scared. We're like, we can tell this voice is gonna be hard on our ears, and the mic kind of like shied away from me. Yeah, I was like, okay, amazing entrance.
Do you find that the mic stand is a big deal as well? I've heard this is an issue.
Well, the problems continue to stem from me being short.
Right.
Because sometimes I literally have to like jump to get the mic.
Yeah.
But other than that, although I did recently encounter a cord wrap. The mic was actually like adhered to the mic stand. It was like wrapped around.
No.
And
they wanted the mic to stay in the mic stand.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'm kind of jumping around. I was like, the audience is not gonna hear a word I say.
Yeah.
But luckily
it was like glued onto
the microphone. I know, I tried to take it out and I was like, okay, we're doing TED Talk today.
Are you yeah. Are you would you prefer a cord mic or a cordless mic?
I love cord. I love a cord. I love to swirl it around.
Yeah.
I love to have fun with it. Cordless, I'm unmoored.
I haven't heard anyone that's really been pro cordless.
No, unless I guess I wanted to like run through the audience and ask them questions or something. Which that would never happen. I'm terrified of the audience.
Yeah, you have to have the safety of the stage.
Exactly. I need to be like leashed to the stage.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
You fall into an interesting category of people in my life that I can
Yes.
that I
yeah, I'm honored to be included. It's just an honor to be nominated.
You fall into an interesting category of people in my life that I consider a friend, but I don't know that much about your life.
Okay, amazing. I'm glad I'm projecting an air of mystery. Well, yeah, it's because I've been antisocial this year. That's
that
why.
right?
I think I've been a bit antisocial. Like lately,
I wonder what could have happened that made you want to shut in.
I have no idea. Like it's completely random. But I'm also someone who's like very. As soon as I have even one thing to do in a day, I'm like, oh, so I can't hang out with anyone because I actually have something to do today.
Right.
I'm like, I have to actually complete my task, and it's like there's actually like 24 hours in a day.
It's famous.
Yeah, there's
24
the
hours.
famous 24-hour amount. But I'm someone who clings. Are you schedule? Like, do you cling to a schedule, or are you chill? Would you describe yourself as?
No. When I have a time that I'm doing something, I'm there early. Okay. I am like, I try to not have like everything written down in my day if I can not. But as soon as I do have something that is like planned, like something like this, like I'll show up like an hour early and like be totally fine with waiting. I have no issue. Yeah. I just can't be like 10 minutes late. I can't be like a half hour late would kill me.
Oh, no.
It's too much.
That's good. Okay, that's good. Because that's my biggest pet peeve. Lateness.
Oh, welcome to Vancouver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which isn't very European of me. I want to so badly be the type of person that's like, oh, 12:30. But if I say 12, I'm like, I better see your ass at 12.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on, I feel like this city has a really big issue with canceling plans.
Okay, see, I'm torn on this one.
Okay.
Because, as I just said, since I'm going through my antisocial phase, sort of my emo phase, if you will, I have sort of a side bang right now. I have a side bang and nail polish on. I don't mind a canceled plan if... Oh, actually, I read a really good rule about this.
Okay.
You can cancel your plans at night if you do it before 2 p.m. Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
Because
that's great. Yeah, it gives you enough berth for the other person to
make new plans.
That's a great plan. Or just get comfortable with the idea that they're staying in for the night. Because that's my biggest thing, is like, I don't like when someone cancels a plan on me, and I've had my expectation, like, I am going out tonight. I've been, like, hyping myself up to, like, and now it's taken away, and then I'm like,
no, what do I do?
Because then every post on Instagram, everything that you see of somebody else doing something, you're like, why am I not doing the thing?
Horrible.
It's terrible.
Or if you put on your little outfit already.
Oh,
if
yeah.
Is there anything sadder than wearing a nice outfit at home on a weekend night?
Is there anything sadder than taking a shower to go out and you're like, I just showered to stay in? Like a fucking sober person or something?
Well, that was when I first moved to Vancouver and I didn't have a single friend yet.
First moved to Vancouver from where?
From Victoria.
Victoria, okay.
And my journey is Kamloops, Victoria, Vancouver.
Seems to be a lot of comics from Kamloops, eh?
I know. It's kind of like Canada's secret gold mine of comedy, Kamloops, BC.
Why is that? Is it just the culture? Is it if you were to pinpoint?
I would say it must be completely random. But people are funny. Everyone in my family is quite funny.
Really?
But maybe that's just in my family thing.
Well, sometimes I think the idea of if you have to hang around people a lot, you might as well have to be funny.
Exactly.
You know?
Like I have to do a lot of talking. I have to have the gift of gab in this town.
And Kamloops, I don't think is well known for like having like the prettiest people, right? Like it's not like it's not,
I guess I'm an anomaly then.
but I mean, like, I don't know, all small towns, I feel like you have to have like a banging personality because it's like you're not getting like the too hot to handle crew like just like magically appearing.
Like, it was very suburban, but I feel like there's a lot of people from Kamloops who live in Vancouver because I feel like Kamloops is small enough that you got infected with big city disease where you're like, I'm gonna get out of this town someday, even though it's a beautiful town. And
then you realize, once you're in the city, you're like,
it's like houses are affordable, good outdoor seating Kamloops. I'm like, I gotta get out of this town. It's like, you live in the suburbs, you have a pool. Like, calm down, no rush, girl. But yeah, when I moved to Vancouver, I didn't have a single friend. On Friday nights, I would just like get in a nice outfit, have one glass of wine, and just like walk up the street.
Yes. Oh man, I did that thing too.
Yeah.
I would go because I moved to Vancouver when I was 17.
Okay.
So I moved early because I graduated a year early from high school. So I moved out.
Genius.
Yeah, no, I just was really tight with my counselor, but I was literally like, get me the fuck out of here as soon as possible.
You were like, I want to get out of this town someday.
Yeah, in White Rock. It was the same thing.
You're from White Rock.
I'm from White Rock, yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
I famously dated someone from there that ended up being a right-wing podcaster.
That sounds about right for White Rock, baby.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot of like weird, like I like almost fell into that clique while I was there. Yeah, I know.
Oh my God,
I know.
Terrifying.
Because you don't realize it as it's happening and you just think like it's like a weird thing like frats. It's like a weird like once you start like getting into these echo chambers, it's like, but I was more along the lines of like not quite like right wing kind of stuff, but like definitely like atheist, like super like your like facts don't care about your feelings kind of shit, you know, like, and you realize just like talking to another person, you're like, oh right, yeah, we're only feelings, really, like we're pretty much 100% feelings as a people. Yeah, no, I know it's you know, it's part of my past. Yeah, I don't shy away.
And then when you moved to Vancouver, you were doing outfit and walking on the street. Did you go through a lonely phase?
I went through a lonely phase. I went through a drinking phase.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah, so
I strut in never heard of that. Swirling it between my fingers like a cigarette.
That's brave of you.
I'm gonna be the Cole Sprouse of mimosas on this podcast.
Well, I was so young, and I could go to bars because I've always looked older. And I had a fake too in case I needed to or whatever. But I lived above a bar. I lived above the the Metropole.
Wow,
yeah.
We kind of lived in we have very similar journeys.
Yeah, most people I find actually like that I talk to when they first move out to Vancouver, they move within that little block radius of
How was living above the Met?
It was wild.
Yeah.
It was wild. I was I was not prepared. My room was so small. Yeah. At least I had my own bathroom in there, where I knew a lot of people like had to share bathrooms and stuff, and like that seems like a lot. I didn't have roaches and I didn't have mice, so I was grateful for that. Yeah. Because I know that area is just like so much of that. But you know, luckily within I think about 2 months of when I had moved in there, the Met had changed their policies to only doing, I think, one of their nights till like 2 o'clock, and every other night was like till like around like 12 or whatever. Okay. So it was like pretty reasonable. And I also am like somebody that stays up super late as is, so it wasn't like a big deal. But you definitely like grow up really fucking quickly living in that area. Yeah. Like being 17, moving in, I had my 18th birthday within like I moved in August, and my birthday's in August, so I had my 18th birthday while I was there. And like you learn, like I know now the distinction by sound of what it sounds like between a gunshot, a firework, and somebody banging on a trash can. Because all three sounds sound very similar.
Yeah, the firework too. Although now I'm like that. Now I'm embarrassed that I was being so yuppie when I first moved to Vancouver, where I was like, a firework.
I'd get down on my ground.
Where I'd be like, okay, no one has a freaking gun here. It's on a gun. I'd be like, gun. It's like, that's not a gun.
Sometimes it was a gun. Sometimes it was a gun.
Me walking down the street, I'm like, guys, it's not a gun.
Oh my god, yeah. No, but the biggest one I think was the trash can. Like,
the trash can sound
beating on the trash can thing. Yeah. That one, and then you hear like the dog fighting, and you just hear things that you never expected that you were going to hear. Like people just like, I try to be a good person if I can in life.
When possible.
Yeah, when possible. So, when you hear somebody that's like screaming out for help and stuff, you go out to help, and you just literally can't find the person. You go like, geez, like, hope that person didn't get fucking taken, like in the in-between of me, like, getting ran down the stairs instead of taking the elevator,
it's always like, what am I gonna do? It was like, what's your plan?
Yeah,
when you're down there?
Once you're there,
Although once I stopped a knife fight from my window.
That's good, yeah.
By going like this. I was like, I saw these guys kind of like confrontation. Yeah. And there was a knife came out, and I was feeling very safe, like above ground. So I opened my window, and I went, hey, stop it. And it worked. They scattered. And
we're like, oh shit, the lady's telling us to stop with our knife fight.
Oh, fine, Mom, we'll stop.
That's hilarious.
I was like, okay, I'm kind of the hero of this.
So you lived in the same area?
I lived above which I don't know do you remember the Alexander?
Yes, yeah.
And I did live in an SRO with a bathroom or a kitchen.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
How old were you?
I was 21, so I was a bit older.
Did you do any school? Mm-hmm. Where did you go to school?
I went to UVic, infamous creative writing degree.
Okay.
Moved at the time I thought Vancouver was the biggest city ever invented.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I'm going to New York City.
Of Canada, yeah. You're like, this is where dreams come true. Yeah. Do you want a top up?
I want a top up.
Okay. Want some ice?
Yeah, why the hell not?
Yeah, grab some ice.
I know, can I touch it with my hands?
Yeah, I touched it with my hands, so I figure we're on that wave tonight. Or today.
Going over the Cambie Street Bridge, seeing skyscrapers, I was like, New York, concrete jungles.
I remember the same thing coming, like anytime I'd come in from from White Rock, I would literally be like, this is the jungle, like the concrete jungle, like.
The city is my playground. And I was like, I had like $7. I was like, you literally can't do anything. But then I will say, living in those apartments is funny because you have so many hilarious stories.
I got maced in there.
Whoa, by who?
Somebody had gone into our lobby with a couple cans of bear spray and had sprayed the whole lobby, all the walls, the grounds, and everything. And I was the first person to walk in, so I'd been like marinating for a couple hours before anything. And I walked in, and Danika, I swear to God, my initial reaction, like obviously getting hit in the face with all of this, I went outside and was like, the cleaners must have used the wrong bleach today. Like I literally called the building manager and was like, you need to talk to the cleaners because whatever bleach they used was no good. It's too strong.
You're like, it is smelling clean in here today.
My eyes are burning and I'm throwing up all over the place. And it was bad. I've had that twice now in Vancouver. I've had like proxy maces. I haven't never been directly maced, but I've been proxy maced twice.
Okay, and I am kind of blessed with to use use a TikTok term, lucky girl syndrome.
Okay.
Where I did kind of feel like the scene in 500 Days of Summer where kind of like bad things were happening all around me, but I was kind of like, hey guys, my name's Danika, just moved in. And they're like my people like singing around me and like, hey guys, they're like, who is this random girl living in this apartment? Why is she so happy?
Do you ever look at, maybe this is a better question. Do you ever find that people attribute manic pixie girl energy to you?
Yes, absolutely.
You get a lot of sad boys trying to date you.
I get manic pixie, and the amount of it, which is funny, it's like, I never thought of myself as quirky. I'm like pretty like normal. Me bravely coming out as normal. I'm like, I'm actually pretty normal. But people are like, oh, she's so quirky. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, has anyone here seen a real quirky person? Maybe I am quirky. I'll take it.
No, I think it's just the way you talk.
It is
because I don't see you actually doing...
I don't do quirky things.
No.
Because I'm like, I go to my 9-to-5 computer job and send emails. That's not very quirky of me. Although I have wanted to be quirky in the past.
You could fit it right away. Zoe Deschanel would have you play ukulele with her any day of the week, you know?
And like quirky is we're gonna have kind of like a re-examination of the concept of quirky in like 5 years.
Do you find that when you maybe, I don't know, do you find that, because you've heard of the manic pixie girl, dream girl kind of idea, right? Do you find a lot of people that are like kind of brooding, very sad dudes being like, she's gonna fix everything for me, you know?
It was when I had my infamous kind of like got dragged online. It was kind of like 7 billion of the scariest guys you've ever seen being like, I could fix her. And I'm like, fix me how? I have like a day job and a very nice life. Yeah. I'm like, you're the one who needs to be fixed, sweetie. Takes a sip of my mimosa.
Yeah. Okay, well I wasn't going to bring it up unless you brought it up, but I'm going to talk a little bit, not so much about exactly everything that happened, but I am interested in just a little bit of context here. Danika had a bit online that went very viral.
In the negative way.
In the negative way.
Every little girl's dream.
Yeah, every little girl's dream to go negative on TikTok. But you've been... And I wonder if this is just a facade, because you got to play cool, But you've been so, like, I feel like, chill with the whole thing and everything that's happened in and around it. How are you really? What were the highs? What were the lows with it all?
Okay, well, here's what I'll say: is I am lucky and I've like had a fascination since I was quite young with like the way media treats people, specifically, women. And, the labeling of women as crazy or labeling as women as weird, blah, 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 blah. And I've been watching comedy since I was a kid, especially on YouTube, internet platforms. I'm like, it's not really surprising when someone gets a negative reaction. So I feel like I had the tools in the toolbox to be like, okay, this is fine. I definitely had my moments though where I was like, when it first happened, I had a bunch of shows that weekend and it was just so funny because it was like you're reading like truly millions of comments being like, you suck at comedy, and then I like had to go perform. Yeah. And I was like, I remember being in a cafe like writing in my notebook and I was like crying and I was like trying to write around the tears. Yeah. And I was like, okay, kind of badass at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, that's what I wanted to get to. Okay, so there were tears. Okay,
there were definitely
because you always are on some just like it is what it is, dude. And I get that as like a comic, like you kind of have this thing where you have to be like, no, I'm good, really, I'm good, and especially because we're mostly seeing one another in and around like show times and stuff, and you kind of have to be like chilling in that way. But there were some tears, because I know like I've had just like a microcosm of it after the fire, and I know like.
Were there tears?
Oh, yeah. There were more tears from that than the fire.
Oh,
yeah, because
there is something about people, when people have an opinion about you who you don't know, I feel like it makes you really emotional because you have this instinct to defend yourself. And
yes.
You're like, you don't know me. Like, you
don't know anything.
I'm a nice person.
Yeah.
But that's like completely completely futile. Like that's
absolutely no. You're not gonna change anyone's opinion.
No, and there's nothing you can do. Which was funny. Where it was like I talked about the whole thing on Dino and Marito's podcast,
right.
and still the comments were like, oh, like yeah, she sucked, and I was like, there's no point in being like, yeah, what happened to me was really bad, because people don't care.
No. But what I'm interested less in about is just it's a good to establish. Okay, it didn't just completely roll off your back, because I am most interested in the kind of person where they're like, oh, that doesn't affect me even one way at all. I'm like, oh, you're crazy.
I do not think that person exists.
Yeah.
I think anyone who is being like, which you see with celebrities all the time, being like, oh, I don't care what people think of me.
Yeah.
I don't think that person exists.
No.
I think it's impossible not to care what people think of you.
What I felt was so, at least I'll keep it on myself, but the ability for people to have a voice while you're sitting in bed is a bit much. Like,
yes.
That's the bit that, and then you also end up realizing how little of an impact positive comments have in comparison.
Yes.
Like, you can have so many great people saying, you know what, you're the fucking best, you're awesome, love you, doesn't matter. Like, during that time we had, thousands of people all reaching out for the fire and like people donating so much money and all this stuff, and I could focus on like 30 heads being like, you're nothing, and like people I didn't follow me, had never been to a show, never knew anything that we were about or anything, I hadn't done anything, and you're just like, oh, I'm gonna focus 100% on you guys.
And it's addictive.
It's so addictive.
To read negative comments about yourself, especially when there's like a grain of truth. I'm like, yeah, I'm like this very loud, like whatever percent. It's like where there are these insecurities that I already had about myself, which is straight guys don't like, which this isn't even true.
No, but you can vote.
It's like already doing comedy, I have a bit of an alternative style, and it's like I always have that fear. I'm like, oh, like this group of people like might not be as receptive to my comedy,
right? So
it's like so funny to have that sort of confirmed on like a mega level.
It wasn't confirmed on a mega level. There was a very. There's always something like that going on that people are able to then prescribe their feelings for in a way. So I don't think it's an accurate representation to, just like straight guys like you or whatever, right?
That's just my internal monologue. That
100%,
funny that I already like had that, and then I'm not saying it confirmed it, but
I get what you mean. At the time, you're like, God,
I guess I was right.
Yeah.
Like I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So it's funny in that way, but
so you had shows that you still had to do that week.
And that was, I remember being like a distinctly busy weekend for shows where I was like, okay, I had like a couple shows every night that weekend, and I was like literally the most unconfident I've ever felt in my life, and I was like, okay.
Isn't it weird that you can go up in front of shows that you're selling out, you've got people in front of you that literally are falling on the ground laughing, but you're still like, the digital people from Zimbabwe don't like me or whatever. It's like,
which is the funny thing about live performance, because you're like, people are like, wow, I can't believe this girl wouldn't quit. I was like, well, I'm like, the medium is live, and if I'm doing well at a live show, I wouldn't really feel the need. If I was bombing every live show, I'd be like, time to call in the towel.
Man, I almost got into so many, like, there were so many times, and I didn't because I just knew it was gonna fuel more.
Yeah.
But there were so many times I was like looking at comments, I was like, you don't even fucking know, man. Like, I was gonna right. Just especially the bits where people were like, this is what happens when you let woke comedy up on stage.
Which is so funny. It was like, it was not political joke. No. It was not like.
Also, that's not your act either.
No,
that's not your act.
No.
Like, you were able to tiptoe in both worlds, let's say, but that's certainly not your act.
No,
you have some crazy shit in your act, and thinking like, you fuckers, just like, you just see like a girl and you're like, this is what happens when.
This is woke comedy.
Which also, it's what's insane is that if you had a bit and you were, and this goes to just a little bit of that bit of just like, in comedy in general, but if you had a bit where you were up there and you were talking about like, you know, getting like fucked by 3 guys and you were like on some like dirty shit, you know, like then they would be like, oh, only all girls can only talk about is, you know, having sex. And you're like, there is no, you can't win.
There's no way to win, so it's like literally pointless to even try. You're gonna drive yourself absolutely nuts.
So what was the driving focus then in After the Fact? So it was the live medium, the live feedback that kept you, or what was like, if you could boil it down to just, you have to do it? What is a...
Well, okay, I feel like I was lucky in a couple of senses, because it's like, you know, first of all, everyone in the local scene and Canada scene was like so nice to me, and everyone reached out and was like, this is like, we don't care about this.
Yeah.
But then I just had shows booked. Like, it was like, I was lucky that I had enough shows booked that I couldn't kind of be like, well, I'm gonna go like mope. I was like, I literally have to go do these shows now.
I heard by show 3 it was like, you were coming in, you were like, this is getting out of control. Yeah. First show you're like, whatever. Yeah. Second show you're like, okay. Third show I heard you were like,
First show I was like, this is funny that this is happening. Like third time I was like, this is kind of like concerning. And then I did a show at Anza Club and I was like, okay, this is like absolutely crazy.
I don't know if I ever told you, but where it really got insane, at least from my perspective, was my dad sent me a message and he had seen on one of his meme pages and he was like, oh, like, doesn't this girl go up in your club? And I was like, what the fuck? My dad?
Well, that was the embarrassing thing. Is it was just in like insular, but like there is this part of you which it's like embarrassing to pursue any creative art.
Oh yeah.
It's like so humiliating to be like, I don't know, there's this thing where it's like, yeah, people from high school are literally doctors, and then they're seeing me being like, I'm doing stand-up comedy. So it's
Wait, do you actually know any doctors?
I know one doctor.
That's so weird. I know no doctors.
I know a doctor, and I'm not gonna say his name because everyone will swarm him.
Yeah.
And like doctors are actually
gatekeep the doctor.
Doctors are the biggest celebrities in this country.
Wait, so you know somebody that has become a doctor?
That's become not only a doctor, the most coveted kind of doctor.
A family doctor.
Family doctor.
Wow.
I know.
Wow. I know 0 doctors.
People are gonna DM this podcast being like, I'll Venmo you for like his name. Yeah, I'm like, I know a doctor, which that's the true celebrity. So it's like something so embarrassing about pursuing something creative, and then also for people from like high school to see, because they don't see you live, so they're probably like, damn, that's going really badly for her. So I'm like, okay, awesome.
What is interesting though is it probably actually got you in the eyes of like many big comedians. Like,
I'm like, but obviously not in an ideal way. They weren't like, this girl. It's like so funny to have people on the defense. Well, also it's like no one's seen my comedy. It was a 10-second clip.
I know.
I have nothing else online.
Is it? Do you hate when you're looking through Peter Grant's comments on the last one that they posted? Where it went so big and it's all just like, this guy's awesome.
I did. That was a phase of it for sure, which this is so toxic to say, but I got like really kind of resentful of like male comedians because I was like, wow, they can post like literally anything online, and even the mean comments, they're like, you know what? That was too harsh. Like, this guy, like, keep working, buddy. And it's like, oh, but yeah. But you know, Peter's. I'm like, I'm
of
glad.
Course,
Peter's
of course,
so funny.
it's no dog against it.
No,
It just is funny that it's from the same platform, same amount of time, and then it's just like, you know, it's just as innocuous as a bit as anything else, you know.
Yeah.
But so silly.
Yeah. So I will say it did impact me, and
Okay, that's good. That's all I really wanted to know. So it impacted you. Do you feel, because you're a comic and you're a funny comic, so my assumption is that you probably are struggling at night alone a lot of the times. Like, all comics I know are all really fucked up, but you gotta have some piece of you that is in that world, no? Or do you not subscribe to that idea?
In like the fucked up comedian trope?
Well, yeah, I feel like just everyone's has like something. Like, do you find, are you a depressed person? Are you an anxious person? Are you just
I'm definitely
chilling?
someone who doesn't subscribe to that
in
a big way, because I'd be like, it would be absolutely insane for me to be like, yeah, I'm like, I've had a hard life. Like, I literally haven't. I grew up in Kamloops, like in the suburbs, kind of like was my high school valedictorian.
Okay.
I would say I would slot myself closer to like a theater theater kid.
I was gonna say, okay, yeah.
Which was, I was like, that's accurate. They were like, theater kid. I was like, true.
That one, yeah.
But I definitely, yeah. So it's
Dude, musical theater or theater? Because I have strong opinions on this.
not musical.
Okay, thank God. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if I had the talent. If I had the talent.
No, but don't you think there's such a different culture? Like,
well, both are bad.
Both are, yeah.
Both are
both
bad.
suck. Both suck.
I was like, I got cut from my high school play, and that's probably why I became a comedian.
Yeah. That's interesting. Okay, yeah, because I also I wasn't a theater kid in the sense where I did the actual plays, but I took all of the classes.
Oh, interesting.
Because you needed the prerequisite. We had like one like screenwriting and and then like playwriting class. So you needed the prerequisites, and I wanted to be able to take all of these like grade 12 classes. And so I did all of that in grade 11 as like my last year or whatever. So at one semester I didn't have a single academic course.
Whoa.
One of my final semester of school was drama, screenwriting and screenplay writing, and then film and television. And that was like that was
folks, theater kids can look like anything. Don't put us into a box. And were you interested in like acting or more just the writing?
No, I had no interest in acting at all. I was only just there to be able, because I knew I wanted to get into film school, so I was like, let's set me up to get everything in there. But I did like drama in the sense where, you know, the improv bits, I also felt like I got to be funny in that context, where it was like, you know, you're in a very specific, you've got a room full of people that you know, that you've been like doing this shit with for like, you know, a couple months now. You can feel like silly on stage, being able to go and do, you know, funny bits and stuff. And I always thought that was very fun. I had no interest to like, I've never been the person where I'm like, oh, I really want the performance, like accreditation or whatever. Like I'm not interested in that. I actually find being on stage very anxiety inducing, like to the point where I don't even intro people anymore. I just like, I always have a God mic so that I can just be like, you're not on the lineup. I know you want a spot. Fucking do it. Like God mic our host up, you know, because I don't like it. It's not anything I feel like I'm good at. When I was in that environment, I feel like I was better than the people that I was in drama with, but they always tried to put me in musical theater, and I would have every year since grade 9, I would have a month of the first semester where I would be like, because it would take them about a month to take you out of a class, because they make you like have to do like a first like couple weeks to make sure that you're not like I don't know why, but they would always make me do like at least 2 to 3 weeks of like having to go to the class and everything. And I told them every time, I'm like, I'm not doing musical theater.
And they were like, we think you're a star.
The drama teacher was also the teacher for musical theater. She really liked me in drama, so she requested to put me in musical theater every time because she wanted me.
Can you sing?
No, well, and according to them, I can. I can't though. Apparently.
Wow. Well, I don't believe you, because if someone says you can sing, because people don't lie about singing. That's the one thing people don't lie about. They'll never be like, you're a really good singer if you're not. Like, people are pretty like, they're like.
Well, what they said was like, I can't sing on my own, but I technically can hit every range in the singing thing or whatever.
In the singing thing.
But when I listen to myself, or like when I sing on my own, like I'm not a good singer, but I guess they were trying to get at is like with some coaching. Musical theater singing is like bullshit too. It's a lot of like, it's not. Yeah. It's not like real, like it's not sing-song kind of singing. So like I think that they were trying to get me to be able to do those like low notes, because I could do that kind of shit, and then I can also hit, I guess, the highs or whatever. But I don't know. I was never interested in that, and like never. I was like, you could maybe get me to act in a play, like maybe, because I also knew that their parties at the end were so fucking crazy. Do they have that in Kamloops too?
Well, my first party I ever went to was because I auditioned for the high school play, and I got a small part, which was not a comedic part, by the way, but I decided, I was like, I'm going to make it comedic. The drama teacher was like,
no.
Trying to be the star. We just want you to be like a nurse in the background. And I was like, hi guys! And it was like I was being so Kramer core. And
Kramer chorus.
Like,
so funny.
no, this is not acting.
Oh my god.
But then I was like, because my dad was a teacher at the high school.
Oh shit.
And
at your school?
At my school.
What did he teach?
Science and music.
Okay.
And we went, the cast party was like so funny. It's like we went to a cemetery, LMFAO.
Yeah.
And I had truly this much alcohol. I was like, and then my dad found out, and I was like grounded for literally 17 years. Which was so funny because I was like, I don't even think the alcohol touched my lips. Like, I think I faked because I was so scared of alcohol in grade 8.
I remember faking it all the time.
Oh, totally. Where I was like, it would touch my lips and I'd be like,
I'm drunk.
Yeah, I'm wasted.
Yeah.
Guys, is anyone else feeling wasted right now?
That's always when you get the people that are like, I never did this. I have a good track record where I can go like, I don't have very many nights where I can be like, oh, what did I do? But like, I feel like when it's people that do that and they don't feel like confident, at least in their own shell, at least enough, and that's when they go like really fucking ham, and then they get to go the whole next morning, they go, oh, I don't remember anything that happened, you know? Like, Jesus Christ, bro.
Yes.
You had a beer, you know?
Yeah.
You're gonna pretend like you were blackout drunk,
and
you know?
that was so me in grade 8. I was like literally not drinking no water, being like, I blacked out last night.
That's hilarious.
But I do believe in the placebo effect of alcohol.
Yes, of course,
you can kind of make yourself, in grade 8, you can make yourself drunk off air if you want to.
Yes, I remember grade 7 drinking Sprite and being like, because I never used to drink Sprite, I was always like Coca-Cola guy, and I was like drinking Sprite, and I was like, this is making me feel crazy today. Just like at the sleepover, I broke my wrist that night off the Sprite.
How did you break your wrist?
So stupid.
You broke your wrist off the Sprite. Guys, what happened last night? My wrist is broken.
Danika, oh my god, I'm gonna age myself so hard with this
you're
one.
You're literally 10 years old.
I know.
There's no possible way to.
I know. Well, but I think just time frame. So when I was in grade 7, parkour and free running was like a really big thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got this in the bag.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen Assassin's Creed. I played the game. I'm pretty good at this stuff. So we were doing, which is really fun. If you don't know about this was called the 30-hour famine. Did you guys do this at your school?
We didn't do 30-hour famine. We did 24-hour wake.
Okay.
So different, but
similar genre of like rich white people kind of doing like a bougie kind of like, oh, we're not gonna eat, we're gonna just like fast. It's pretty much just fasting, really, for like, so we were doing it like in solidarity, I guess, for like the starving kids of Africa. We're like, we're all gonna starve for 30 hours and just eat rice.
Was it raising money or just for the solidarity?
I want to say someone was maybe trying to raise some money, but I can say I didn't raise a goddamn dime during that. You know, I just wanted to hop on the trend with my homies. So we were off the Sprite. We were in the big sleepover, and we were playing Truth or Dare.
Classic.
And you know, in those like basement suites where they've got the little like window that like goes to the outdoors, and they've got the little window ledge there.
Yep.
So we're all hanging in a room. Half the party is like asleep because they're like normies and they like are asleep at like 12 or whatever.
And you're alt.
We're alt, you know.
Right, I'm alternative.
A little alternative, you know, and we've got a big group of people all playing Truth or Dare, and like I'm hoping in this moment that someone, just anyone, is going to dare me to kiss a girl.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole reason why you play. You're just hoping someone is like, you do it, and you're like, oh, I guess if we have to. And so I had gotten to my turn to do a dare, and I dared like the most like popular dude, like the guy who was like always like, you know, he was pulling like all the, you know, the prettiest girls, whatever. I'm like, buddy, I want you to get up on this ledge here, and like that little like window ledge, and like hop off the ledge onto the bed.
You were trying to kill him. You're like, let's get rid of this guy. You're like, I'm the captain now. In
all honesty, you're talking about like a Like maybe the top of that piece there in graffiti. Like it's not that high.
Okay.
And there's a bed to land on.
Okay, safe stuff.
Safe stuff.
Yeah.
And he goes like, nah, dude, that's super dangerous. I'm not gonna do that.
Whoa, it's kind of hot that you stood up to peer pressure.
I know.
I'm attracted to the popular kid in your high school, and I'm like, good job, Chad.
Shout out Bradley.
That was really cool.
Shout out Bradley. He didn't go by Brad. He went by Bradley. He literally got every hot girl that. Oh God, whatever. Fucking Bradley still
I'm
is
like,
it.
Bradley, that's really cool what you did back there, standing up to Austin.
So he's like, nah, dude, that's too dangerous. I'm not gonna do it. And I was like, on some shit. I was just like, I was off the Sprite. I was like, bro, you're on some pussy shit right now. I'm gonna show you how this is done. Like I've been parkouring for like a month now. Like I know what's up. What I didn't realize was that the bed had wheels. So I jump off the ledge onto the edge of the bed, thinking that I'm gonna like land forward. The bed scoots. I land on my wrist. No good.
This is so like super bad.
I know.
It's like
I know.
daring the popular kid to jump off the ledge and then do it yourself and break your wrist.
But
That's
so here's the thing though, right? So I'm like, I'm in front of all my like, my peers and everything. I'm like, this hurts, but like not that big of a deal. We go up, we put an ice pack on. Buddy's mom, he hooks it up, but like at this point, I'm not giving the reaction of somebody that broke their fucking wrist, right? So I'm like, oh, it's okay. I'll tough it out. I'll go home tomorrow. It's like no big deal. So they put a heat pack on it overnight, and I got the heat pack and I got it like up on my chest, whatever. I'm like, okay, sprained wrist or whatever. And so I'm sleeping and I roll over.
Oh no.
And I hear a big crack.
No.
And I had cracked it in another spot when I had done that. And so the next day they were like, you got 2 cracks in your wrist, eh? And I was like, I don't know. Yeah. Must have happened on that first roll.
The hardest grade 7er I've ever heard of.
No, the second when I cracked it, then I started to cry.
Okay.
Yeah, then I was like, I gotta go home, man. And then they went,
Mom?
yeah, and then the hospital the next day, and so I had like a full almost like 24 hours with no cast, just being like, I don't know what's up with my bendy wrist, bro.
And then you got to be the kid in school with a cast.
Yeah, and also like Bradley's status definitely got taken down, knowing like everyone was like, you didn't do the dare. Like I think everybody honestly was like, Bradley, I think you could have done the dare and not broken your fucking wrist. And he was just like, I don't know,
Wow.
But it did not get me any closer to getting that first kiss or anything. Didn't help in any way.
The girls weren't like, woo!
He's such a daredevil,
Okay, so this is classic. Like this would be an amazing idea for a coming-of-age rom-com, because then you break your wrist and the girl you have a crush on writes her number on your cast.
Danika, you're speaking my language.
Stop. Okay, my creative writing degree.
You're speaking my language.
I'm like
this. So much of my life I fantasized would turn out like a movie.
What were you like in high school?
Insufferable.
I'm picturing you. This is funny because physically my brain's not capable of picturing you without a beard. So I'm kind of picturing like kind of a slightly shorter you wearing a backpack with a huge beard and carrying a book that says Science 10.
I didn't have a beard then, but I was definitely trying my best.
Okay.
I wore a suit for most of high school.
Okay, that rocks.
I know.
That is the coolest thing I've ever heard.
No, I was like not.
What was the motivation behind this?
How I Met Your Mother.
Okay, this is making my day.
So embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. I wore a suit every day. I was a gushing romantic.
Whoa.
I had no game whatsoever.
Wow.
As soon as I liked someone, I would instantly go like, I think we should go out on a date. I thought that you could operate the way that I saw on these shows. I thought that you could ask someone out on a date, and in high school, like, oh yeah, like, no, yeah, sure, like, you seem cool, let's go out on a date. And I thought I could be like really like dope and like make people want to go on a date and stuff.
What kind of dates were you taking people on in high school?
I would none, because no one wanted to do it.
What was your idea? You were like, okay, this girl's gonna say yes, and then smash cut 2. What was the
smash cut 2? I had to this day, the most romantic dates I have ever planned were on high school, and I had to like realize like, oh, I gotta tone that all the way back because no one.
Okay, what were they? Oh wait, let me guess. Okay, you pull up in a car, and it's like a convertible or something. You open the door, and there's maybe like a lookout point involved. So I like there's a lookout point involved.
It's definitely a lookout point involved.
And there's maybe there's absolutely a lookout point, and I'm like there's maybe like a picnic situation.
Oh my god, yeah, you're right on the money there. You're right on the fucking money there.
I knew it.
Yeah, it was definitely that. It was like, like, let me make dinner, like,
okay,
I'm like...
A 17-year-old being like, let me make dinner.
No,
so
dude.
Funny.
I'm 50, like, I'm
You're
like...
15.
13 even. Fucking, I was so love struck. Like,
wow.
I would like a girl and I'd be like, I love you. Like,
wow.
but I never said it. I was just like, I'll
You
do
were
anything.
thinking
Yeah, I
it?
was definitely thinking it. Yeah.
Well, did you watch, like, what? How did you become this? Were you watching rom-coms?
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I was obsessed with How I Met Your Mother. I still am. I was watching it this morning.
Wow.
Like, I was obsessed with How I Met Your Mother. I also had basically no real frame of reference for romance in that way.
That is the funniest thing when you're in high school, where it's like literally the only frame of reference you have is TV and movies. So you're like, yeah, I'm gonna be going to a lookout point.
Yeah.
Handcuff me to the freaking bedroom, or else I'm gonna be going to a lookout point. That was me.
Picnics are a thing, right?
Yeah.
God, I was always on some picnic shit. Yeah. I was hopeless romantic. I thought that the suits, something about like having a uniform in some way just like felt good. I also like, I constantly had like that's why I shave my hair, because my hair is so thick and it's so hard to manage like and style in any kind of way.
Yeah.
So like once I figured out, like once I was a little bit older, because at the time if you're like a fucking teenager with a head shaved, like everyone's like, you're weird, dude.
Yeah.
So like I would have hair, but I hate it. So it was just like the one way I could kind of get away with like looking presentable-ish without needing to have like a great deal of style. Wow. Yeah, so I just wore a suit. I was always working on things. I was like a big talker back then. I really moved away from that later on.
Talking like in a social context, or like talking about plans?
Talking about plans, yeah. I was always like about to do something or on, and then eventually I did. So I started at 16. And I consider that kind of like the start of everything for me. But at 16, I started my first like clothing brand. Okay. And was like doing starting to make clothing, and that's how I met Brennan, one of my closest friends at the time, and so like we started collaborating on stuff after that. Yeah. So it was like 16 was like after I kind of got off my bullshit era, but up until then there was millions of fucking like things I was gonna do and wanted to do and all of
that
everything
makes
there.
Sense for you, because from the moment I met you, I'm like, okay, this is someone who has the entrepreneurial disease.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
At this point, it would be really tough for me to like. What do you want from me, boss?
Yeah.
Like.
Whereas I'm so the opposite. When I was watching that show, Severance, they do a job. They do that job where their job is to like pull shapes on the computer and put it into a box. And I was like, that's my dream job. That's my dream job. I was like, where do I sign up for the Severance job?
Weirdly, I excel in those situations. Like, I do actually do well working under people. I do, because I'm always bringing more than what you should be bringing. But that's because that's the same drive that makes you, like, want to do your thing on your own, right?
Okay, what was the clothing brand? Little Suits?
It was called Crooked Smiles.
I love
Low-key, there were some, like, brands afterwards that came out that I was like, I was onto some shit, because they did very well.
I think you were.
It was all like smiley face motifs, so like there's a lot of like smiley face with like a kind of like a crooked little like smile thing. And I ended up actually getting cease and desist from J. Cole.
What?
16-year-old me got a cease and desist from J. Cole, and that was when I shut it down.
What was J. Cole doing?
So J. Cole had a song called Crooked Smile, and they felt like that infringed on their copyright.
I have a message for J. Cole. J. Cole, sir, respectfully, no one's ever listened to your song Crooked Smile, and no one ever will. And this brand could have been huge.
It could have been huge. It could have been huge. I have to quickly run for a pee break.
I'm like, go for a pee break.
Okay.
Restock your... I have really good bladder strength, so...
Restock the mimosas. I'm gonna go for a pee.
I know, these are... No, did you sprain your ankle? No, Austin, no! This is like, you're like, Danika dared me to jump. Are you okay? Okay, we have the ice if you need it.
Just show us how a drunk makes a mimosa at 1 o'clock.
Danika style.
Okay. I got cups, I got straws, I got ice, I got orange juice.
I think that's all.
And, yeah.
Okay, well, first, I feel like you should open the champagne bottle since you've never done it.
Yeah, okay.
I kind of feel like your elder walking you through.
Please, yeah.
And I'm not going to pull a you and talk down to you. I'm going to treat you as equal.
Yes, alright.
Just twist.
Twist and pull up.
And pull up and hold into your hand.
So there's no flicking it and going...
Yeah, all over the camera. All over the dog.
So you just... twist and pull up?
Yeah, and that's kind of, now I'm actually scared. I would like, if I was you, I would still tilt it away from you for safety.
Towards
you? Pointed at my eye.
Right at your eye? Okay. Alright, this is why I...
Yeah! I'm like holding this like a shield. Wow, that was, okay, then drink it. Is that official advice? I'm like, and then you just drink it a bit. That was good.
Wow.
And doesn't that feel like a power move to just catch it in your hand?
Kind of feels like coming. I've got all this stuff around my hand now. Oh my god.
Well, that is at fancy restaurants. I wouldn't know, didn't work there. Famously was Denny's girl.
Right.
That's how they do the napkin, and then they twist it off into the napkin.
Oh, is that
right? And so the overspill gets caught by the napkin.
Damn.
Isn't that beautiful?
I have a napkin just like that at home.
One fancy napkin.
Fancy napkin.
You're like, let me get the fancy napkin. Okay, and this is how I would make, and I recently got back from my first ever bottomless brunch. Have you ever done those?
Yes, yeah, I have.
This was my first one.
Okay. In the States?
In the States.
Where were you?
Oh, in a horrible little town called, an amazing town called Scottsdale, Arizona.
Scottsdale, Arizona, looking to have Danika come back for a tour.
Here's what I'll say. Fun for going out, but ultimately it is 7 strip malls holding hands.
No, Arizona is a shithole.
I was like, is there anything that's not a mall?
No.
And I was like, oh, let's go to Fashion Square.
Yep.
I saw it on Google Maps, picturing, this is what I was picturing when I heard Fashion Square. Fountain, Piazza, Italy, Aperol Spritz, tables, patio.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just a mall called Fashion Square.
Yeah. That's I've been to Arizona. It's all just malls and desert.
You're cut off, by the way. Please. Yeah, you knock over all the cameras. Yeah.
God. That was insane. I hope we got that on camera. That was actually insane. Did you see the wobble on my ankle?
The way you fell, I was like, somehow defied physics. I was like, the ledge isn't high enough for the fall to be that hard.
As I've been sitting here being like, I can hold my liquor. I've never had a... No, I'm fine. I'm gonna actually... You want to top up? Let's fucking...
I'll just splash more.
Splash more.
Yeah.
What are we at for time? We edit a lot of this.
Amazing. I'm like, you're gonna clip my stupidest clip, so I'm putting that.
Okay, perfect.
You're gonna clip me being like, woke comedian. I'm gonna get shocked.
Just for the engagement, baby.
Yeah.
No, I'm having so much fun. I don't want to stop.
I know. This is great.
Yeah, this is great.
I'm like, who did this, by the way?
The Doom poster?
Yeah.
That's it's an original print, I guess, from the actual artist that did MF Doom.
Whoa.
album art. So that's like a variant on MF Doom album art. They did like a series, and that's an original print. And I had it actually properly framed with glass. But my ex could kind of break things sometimes in the apartment.
Yeah, that's
so,
so you took the glass? Oh.
So the glass shattered one night. I don't know if that actually was them or not. That could have been me, but at any rate, things got broken sometimes, and it's fine. Not like on purpose. No one's trying to like.
One thing about you is you've lived a lot for your age.
Dude, that's been my week this week, is just like, I've had a really shit week. This is actually a very nice cap on the week, because I've had a bad week.
What happened? Yeah, I guess, well, I know some of the things that happened, but anything else? Did you like step in dog poo or something?
No, it's just that the movie basically, I mean, we talked about it on the last episode, that'll be coming out, but, like the movie kind of fell apart.
Yeah.
And it'd been like, I've been writing that thing for 2 years, so it was like not like a little thing.
No.
And we were supposed to be starting production on the 23rd of this month.
Okay.
So like less than a month away.
Yeah.
Sorry, I said I was gonna top you off and then didn't do anything.
I'm good.
Okay, you're good?
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good.
That's fine. I'm gonna keep drinking.
Okay, and then it fell apart. But I'm like,
it fell apart, yeah.
This is here as your elder, as your literally. I'm like,
I know.
This is when things should be falling apart.
I know. I know.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where like, it's tough to feel bad for yourself, because then it's like.
No, but you get to feel bad about yourself.
A little bit, but then it's like, oh yeah, I just have to go back to like selling out shows every week. Like you know what I mean? Like it's like I am doing all right. I'm just like on some like overachiever tip bit, and that probably like connects with you in like the theater kid mentality of just like nothing that you do is really ever enough.
No.
And like if something doesn't, I'm just so big on because I think I was so talky in high school.
Yes.
And because I started to become like a doer person and like stop talking about things and then just do them.
Yes.
Because I hated it. Hated hearing people talking about things and then them not happening and being like, you're a loser, dude. Like that when it happens now, I can't help but prescribe all of those same feelings that I have for other people that do that back onto myself. And that's not fair, because I do have a good pattern of actually making things happen, and this was going to happen.
Yeah.
It's like out of my control.
Totally.
So then, I don't know. It's just, I just wanted to see it happen.
Yes.
I just wanted to be able to be like, oh, this year, we did some cool shit, and as I'm saying that, it's April. So like, still got a lot of time, Like if I want to make something happen, I can still make something happen this year. I just was really looking forward to like that project. It's so weird. It was so off the wall. Like, and the nice bit, and the one thing that like everyone that's in film or produces things have been telling me, they're like, your way that you've been going about making movies happen is so much different from how things typically and normally happen.
Okay.
How it's happening now is like very normal. The idea that you are like mid-production and like the funding like cuts out, or like something happens where you're like, oh, we gotta halt this and like come back at this like a couple years later or something. That's the normal way of it going down. I've just been on this wave since like out of university, where I've just been like, oh, I have a short film idea. I'm just gonna go make it, and then I go and make it.
And I feel like as you scale things, that just becomes more and more common. Where it's like you get more cooks in the kitchen, and you're doing bigger things, but it's like they become harder to.
This is gonna be by far the biggest thing.
Yeah.
We were like even just like the budget alone. I think about like. And it was in my pitch, because I was about to take on like a massive loan with it all, like to make it happen. And I'm kind of glad like that part didn't happen. And then like a couple days later, like deuces, whatever. But yeah, like the amount I was gonna put into the movie was like the same amount. At least it's very close, a couple digits off or whatever, but very close to what I put in to the MOTN to like be able to rebuild. Okay. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, well, like scalability, like what I was able to do with that is like, oh, we've got like now like an established business, like I kind of can able to like run this for a while. So like my mindset of being like, oh, this was going to be on equal level, even though that's not at all reasonable. Because like famously lucrative, famously like, as well as like it was like a movie about cum. So it's like like what are the odds that we did well in film festivals, or even were able to like get in, like even actually submit them to film festivals? Like it was such a fucking stupid and wild movie that like, you know, shout out Lou Albani, he was gonna be our lead. That was so weird, right? Like we just had like such a weird little eclectic group of people that were all kind of like attached to it. And also, unfortunately, and this will probably be the reality, but like most of the people that were on the crew were people that I've worked with in the past that are right in their transition period from going from like after school working on like these kinds of projects to then being able to like go fully working in the industry and stuff. So this is what I felt like was like my last little like gap at like getting, you know, like volunteer work and us being able to work on something.
I don't think that's true though.
There's more people.
There's more people, and people are, I mean, one thing about being like in a creative community is people are willing to do so much volunteer work if they just like the person and like the project.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, for sure.
I'll hold your boom. I'll pick up garbage. I'll wear a vest. I'll wear a high-vis vest.
Danika Thibault working on sound, I think, is probably not the best idea. We've established you don't like plugs, and we've established that the microphone needs to be very far away from you.
And me holding the boom like the shortest person ever. It's in every single shot.
Can we talk about that, actually? You and I might be the only two people in the community that people can tell whether or not we were at a show based on other people's clips. You know that? I've gotten that. I've gotten that. People literally, we have two distinct fucking laughs.
Yes, which I always almost feel bad about. Like I've come to a couple album recordings here recently, and I was like, I did sit in the back both times.
Yeah, I noticed because you were like, I gotta make sure that
But then I also feel not to be. I mean, because I have experience being both on the stage and in the audience, and like. I would, and if anyone is laughing super hard, if there's one person laughing super hard at all my jokes, I will name my firstborn child at them. I know. I'll take a bullet for them.
I think I look at, because I don't know, what was your like early influence? Like for me, Pete Holmes was like the big kind of like,
interesting.
Yeah, so like,
so
I don't know if that speaks to like what I like in general with comics and who I kind of like gravitate towards, but Pete Holmes and his podcast specifically, where they like were talking about comedy and culture within comedy and the dynamics between comics and everything. But Pete was famous for like ruining people's clips because he would stand.
A good laugh.
He stands near and he has a really big laugh. So it's like one thing that I didn't realize that I had until I was listening to clips, and then I was like, oh god, like I could definitely hear myself laughing in these fucking clips from people.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I gotta kind of figure out some level of
some sound control.
Because I think that people do now have like a thing where they're like, if they could hear that laugh, they're like, nice, okay, at least I'm doing well there, right? Because that's what I think I try to be able to give in sometimes is like trying to just let the person know that they're better than the audience that's here in the room right now.
Yes.
It's like, no, don't throw away that bit. That's a really funny bit.
Yeah.
Just for whatever reason, the room doesn't get it yet, or maybe they just this isn't the crowd for that joke or whatever, but like I want to be able to celebrate that, right?
Yes. Well, I'm like, I love to laugh. But my bad experience recently was that I went to see one of my, I mean, you were there, you heard, my favorite comedian of all time, John Early.
John Early.
And I have a loud laugh normally, but this is like the person I think is the funniest person alive, and I was laughing so hard, and the person in front, and keep in mind, we're at a comedy show, so to be expected, the person in front of me kept turning around and going, and then plugging their ears like it was the most painful thing they'd ever experienced.
Oh my god. So is that like, is being able to go on the road opening and stuff, is that kind of the next spot where you're trying to like really work towards? Is that
it's impossible to say for me because the road, there's something, the road, I'm like
I don't see you like,
I don't really see myself like in a car or being like going to like literally a small town.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're not much of like a road dog right now or anything, right?
I mean the ideal would be I'd be kind of and this is a new term I'm inventing, is kind of city road dog, where you kind of like go maybe from city to city every now and then. I don't know if I see myself in the smallest town ever.
Right.
Maybe I'm wrong about this, but
Penticton or something.
I'm like, they'll want to tie me up and burn me at the stake.
You'd be surprised nowadays. I think you'd be. I mean, I don't know. I'm not there, but it feels like a lot of the times they're just so happy that things are happening.
That is true.
And like even just like, I would imagine at a certain point that they've got to be exhausted with hearing like the same motherfuckers that are always going on the road and like kind of telling the same story and from the same perspective.
That is true. And like, so, you know, if anyone wants to bring me to a big city, I would come. Sorry.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
And if anyone wants to cast me in an actually huge television series, I wouldn't say no.
Danika, it'd be great if you didn't move, eh?
Yeah.
It'd be awesome if you didn't move like everyone else. It'd be really great if you didn't move.
Maybe I won't.
Maybe you won't.
I can't commit to any. Where's my publicist?
Oh my god.
How are you feeling about current state of MOTN? Are you like, woo, I'm glad to be back?
Yeah, no, I'm glad. I'm definitely glad to be back. We're getting into this nice spot where we're kind of we're booking so many people from out of town that's really nice. Like they're able to do these like double shows in a night where they're doing like selling out both shows. Yeah. And then as well, like ideally, because they're in New York, because they're in LA, they're able to then like at least just via proxy of social media and the people that are like following them and things, then like people that are seeing, I feel like really edged in my life.
Okay.
This is a thing that I've been thinking about a lot lately. Yeah, like,
how so?
You know, like when getting edged, right? So like I feel edged in my career where like I'll get so close to the thing that I am really wanting, like my goals, and then it just like I get right almost there, and then it's kind of just like taken out from under me.
Okay.
So like the fire obviously being a pretty good example of that.
Yeah.
And then like now we've had like during JFL we had like so many like such like so many close opportunities of like, oh, this person's talking about they want to go somewhere, and like, oh, I'm gonna tell them we should go here, and or like somebody that like reaches out that's like, oh, I'm gonna come and like do a drop-in spot, and then it just like for whatever reason like during JFL there was like the snow that ended up happening at the last little bit, and like I don't know, just like weird shit like that where it's like we got so close and then it kind of gets like taken out from under us. I just like I really, because I'm such a comedy fan, even outside of all of this, like I consume so much fucking like comedy content on the daily. I'm huge on podcasts, and like I listen to on my way to work every day to go and do comedy full time. I listen to comedy like on the way there. So it's I love the medium and everything. I just really want to see someone outside of like who I know in the space. That's just such an honor to me that like somebody would take the time to come and do like our weird little like room outside of any, I call it a club, but some people don't call it a club, whatever. But like, yeah, I don't know. I want to see that happen. We've been very, very, very close. Like someone that I had been listening to since I was 13, literally in the fucking, I'm wearing a suit in high school. I'm listening to my headphones. I don't have any friends yet.
You're driving to the lookout point. You're like, let me put something on.
Yeah, literally. And we had somebody that was in that landscape that I had been listening to for almost a decade reach out and was going to come and do a spot, and then because of the snow they weren't able to, and I was just like, it's so close to the thing that you want, you know.
20s is all about emotional edging, though.
Yeah.
And like you don't want to get what you want too early.
Well, also like what am I supposed to do here? Like this week, I mean, obviously we stopped for today's show, but even on Thursday, if we had today's show, we would have been on our 6th week of selling out both shows in the week. So like, it's like anytime.
Take a break. Go get a carbonara. I can't say that word. Carbonara.
Yeah, you know, it's in that weird spot where like anytime I get too
Do you like
down
leisure?
on myself.
Or like, what's your relationship to a leisure activity?
Yeah, I like smoking weed.
Okay.
So I smoke weed.
Okay.
Do you smoke weed?
No, I'm so bad at smoking weed.
I was gonna say.
I try annually. I have kind of an annual. Well, me and Maddie, who you know, did have like this annual thing where we were like on Valentine's Day, we'll try and get Danika to like start liking weed.
That's funny.
So we would kind of smoke, and I would always kind of have a panic attack. Yeah. I'm like, I'm not a weed girl.
I couldn't see you like puffing.
No,
puffing away.
It simply does not make sense.
Yeah.
But I'm like, maybe you. Amazing cough into the mic.
Nice, good.
Keep that in.
Keep that in. Clip that.
A 1 second clip. Coughing. People are like, women aren't funny. Women aren't funny. Yeah, where's the joke?
I like her joke, but I just don't like her delivery. Oh my god, what a fucking stupid. Oh, that one drove me insane.
I don't like fair. I'm like, fine.
I am a great writer, I guess.
I'm like, okay, well, just auto-tune the mic and that'll be gorgeous. I'll be the biggest comic in the world. Okay, but what you need to do is you need to expand you need to become more addicted to leisure.
I noticed that you go on vacations fairly often.
Okay, I actually really like that you think that about me, because that's like something I am like. I was like more like you, where I was like, I literally could never take a break in my early 20s. Like I literally was like, I can't hang out with a friend on a Saturday because I need to be like getting stuff done.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, ultimately, like you do. I was like, wait, you do die one day.
Yeah.
And
right now, yeah.
Yeah. And so it's fun to just like enjoy. It's fun to enjoy.
I've been traveling quite a bit.
Yeah. You had your infamous Alaska trip.
Well, yes, that. But before that, I have been traveling. The Alaska trip. But I have been traveling like a good amount. Like I've been to Europe twice. I've been to Southeast Asia
You've done
twice.
way more traveling than I have.
I took the reason why I graduated early was so that I could go traveling in that year and then be able to go to school and then do the thing, but
do the dang thing.
But weirdly, I was actually thinking about this the other day, and so the year 2020, that year was the year that I was nannying, right? So that year, why I was doing that was because I was working at a restaurant, was working as a cook. I had cut my thumb, so that's why I got this like kind of Superman scar here, and I cut the tendon on my thumb.
Oh my god!
I know, yeah. So I cut the tendon, and so I only have like a bit of motion in comparison, whatever. And so I was off work, and I moved back from Vancouver and decided, okay, my dad said, hey, you want to be a nanny? You come, you got to pay rent, whatever, but like, here's a job, And I was like, okay, cool. So I go back to White Rock. I'm a nanny for about a year and change, about a year and a half. I'm talking to my grandpa, and he's looking to retire, and he wants to buy a boat, and he wants to go sailing around. He doesn't know how to sail. I don't know how to sail.
Yeah.
I'm like, that sounds lovely.
That sounds gorgeous.
So I'm going to save up a bunch of money, and I'm going to go on this big boat trip with you. He's like, okay, great. So we start learning how to sail. We start taking sailing lessons.
Oh, you took a sailing lesson.
Yeah, we took sailing lessons, mostly like navigation and like the logistics and laws behind it, not like a lot of practical stuff. So if you took me on so if you took me on a sailboat right now, I wouldn't know that much. I know like in theory how to do it, but like the practicals not so much.
Yeah.
But we start learning how, and we're supposed to leave in October. And October comes around, and he hasn't bought a boat yet.
Okay, key component.
Yeah, so I've been saving for this whole time. I've been working full time, as well as I'm on my work safe whatever for the hand thing. So you're kind of like, you're getting to put away a good chunk amount of money every month, to be able to save up for this thing. And yeah, so we're waiting to go on this boat thing, and it comes to the month that we're supposed to leave, and he still doesn't have a boat. And I started dating my ex, and it's doing all right. And we come up to the date that we're supposed to leave on the boat trip, and there's still no boat. And I go, okay, well,
we're swimming.
We're gonna go to Mexico or do something. So the two of us go. Me and my ex, we go to Mexico. We fuck off for a little bit, because I'm like, I'm gonna have to do something. I've been working this hard to go and do a vacation. We're also in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah.
In September to remember that 2020 September to October range or whatever, they were letting you go and do shit again.
Yes.
For 2021 again.
Yeah. Where they're like, okay, you guys.
You guys can go out. Be quick about it. Yeah, because we're gonna lock it back.
Come right back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So literally the week after we had come back was the week that they implemented the travel thing where you needed to have all of your stuff. You need to have your vaccines and everything to do that, whatever. And my grandpa is a really big anti-vaxxer.
Oh no.
Yeah, so he still hasn't bought the boat. I know he's not gonna get the shot.
Oh no, it's such a sad story.
So it ends up being like, okay, we're probably not gonna go on the boat trip. So luckily I had all this money saved up that I'd been saving up for this trip and everything, and that's like how I was able to do the MOTN because of it, right?
Amazing. The origin story.
Yeah.
Wikipedia, early life.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Early life, maybe, yeah. Transcribe it. But we were supposed to go for a year.
Whoa, a year?
Yeah, we were supposed to go sailing for a year.
Do you have things to talk about with your grandpa for a year?
No, but probably like I'm well versed enough where I can be like, the deep state, bro. Like I get, you know what I mean? Wow. Like I can I told you, like my early white rock days, like I can at least keep up with him on like what he's knowing and be able to be like, that's bullshit. Yeah. Like that one is a little weird or whatever. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I was more interested in living a life that was functional in terms of, and I ended up having to do that, but just in a concrete way with being in Vancouver. Yes. But I'm always in love with the idea of you're making money to be able to get food so that you can eat and then go to sleep, and then you're getting up the next day, and you're living a life that serves as a function to you being able to survive. And that's what traveling does so much, right? It's you are literally and then you have leisure time and this nice relaxing bit, but at its kind of at its peak, it's you surviving in some way or another.
Yes.
Especially when you're super young, which I was when I went to Europe. I was 16 when I went to Europe on my own for the first time, and then 18 the second time.
Okay.
So both times you're it's me, it's my buddy Brennan, who's much smaller than me.
Yeah.
So you're oh, if anything is to go down, you're very much so in the driver's seat here of how that situation is gonna go. You know what I mean? So you're just in a survival mode a lot more.
Yeah.
And I think I thrive in that situation.
Okay, that's not leisure. That doesn't count as leisure.
What is leisure?
I want to see you sitting at a beach club, lying in a chair with kind of a book resting on your stomach.
You know what? I haven't read a book in 2 or 3 years.
Oh my god, you gotta read a book.
I know.
You gotta read a book.
I know, I gotta read a book. What was the last book you read?
I read lots of books, and I'm reading.
Oh, fuck you, dude.
What am I reading? It's by a writer from the New Yorker, and it's a memoir about his childhood and his best friend, and it's beautiful. But I will admit, and I'm gonna get torn to shreds for this, but I stand by it. The last book I read was Bridget Jones' Diary.
Nice.
Which one of my biggest comedic influences.
Really? Okay.
That book, the funniest thing to ever be written.
Really?
Literally religious texts.
They
should put it in hotels where the Bible is.
That's hilarious.
That's what I say. Bridget Jones' Diary. I would never read it, and I was like, this is the funniest thing I've ever read in my entire life.
That's hilarious.
Even though it's kind of infamous chick lit.
Did you read Fallen Our Stars?
No.
Because I love that one.
Okay, there we go.
I know. Yeah, I can speak some of the language.
You can speak the language.
Yeah. I read that one. I liked that one. I love the movie.
Yeah.
But I'm always a person who loves the movie more than the book.
Wow.
There's never been a movie where I've been the book was better.
Whoa.
I know, and
That's read crazy.
I know, I read all the Hunger Games, I read all the Harry Potters.
And you were the movie really captured it.
What? I'm a big movie guy.
Do you write your film school?
1 year, but still.
1 year. That's That's enough. That's kind of all you need, in a sense.
So silly. Danika, we're reaching the end of our show right now. This is the part of the podcast where we talk about what keeps us going. For the audience, we're not going to try to lie and pretend like we didn't already do this already. We had already talked about it, but I want to talk about it again. What keeps you going? Why do you keep doing what you're doing? Explain a little bit as to how someone can take that negativity and be able to continue onwards.
Yes, I'll try and say it in a more succinct way this time, but ultimately I do think that if you're making anything or putting anything out, you have to like doing it for yourself, and you have to like the physical act of doing it, because the chances of having success at it are so low. So I think to focus on that, creative independence.
That's the word that we're using.
Creative independence, don't rely on external validation, which is hard in comedy.
Yeah.
But yeah, and focus on getting better at your work instead of getting things.
How do you gauge your own growth as a comedian? What are some of the things that do you base it on your act? Do you base it on things?
I would say just writing new jokes, building more time, getting more comfortable on stage. I am someone who sets pretty achievable goals. I'm okay, let's make this pretty easy. And the nice thing about comedy is you're the success metric is, am I making people laugh? So it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear cut.
Yeah, that's that's one of my favorite bits of all time is Pete Holmes talking about magicians versus comedians, or magicians.
They don't know.
Ooh.
Yeah.
There's no audible reaction.
There's no audible. So
funny.
Are people laughing? But I think, and this is so cheesy to quote Steve Martin, but he had a really good piece of advice that stuck with me, is to focus on getting good, not famous.
Yes.
And that is literally the best piece of advice anyone has ever spoken.
I'm far more interested nowadays on being a good man than a great man.
Yes.
And that it helped recontextualize everything creatively that I wanted to do at a certain point where I went, I don't know what exactly the pinpoint was, but I look at the first year that they tried to do the Golden Globes during COVID.
Yeah.
Where I was just looking at it and I was like,
no.
Oh, wait a minute. So when you actually boil it down to all the people that need to be here, and then you take it and you put it in a regular room.
Yeah.
This is bullshit.
Yes.
This is 100% spectacle.
Yes.
And these little golden things, and especially when you think about people that will win the Oscar and then the next year aren't able to land a job.
Yeah.
You're oh, right. Yeah. So there's not you got the thing and now you're set up forever. I think at maybe one point it was like that.
Yeah.
I think at maybe one point you could kind of coast off of being you have the golden man or something or whatever. But now there's nothing.
Yes.
You just have to be
you have to like what
yourself.
You're doing. And people talk all the time about getting things and being miserable. So okay, so I got it and now I don't feel amazingly happy and my life isn't perfect. Where it's okay, you have to have your stuff set up internally. And that's the only thing that really matters, isn't it?
The nice bit about what I do is that I get the relief of laughter at the end of the week.
Yes.
So I do have the best output for that, where I can go even yesterday, Thursday, whatever, when we had our show, even being in the absolute dumps, being okay, at least I'm not having to go and do my job at Denny's.
Yes.
You know?
hey, don't knock it.
No, but you know what I mean? It's I get to come and just laugh and get to see funny people working on their craft.
Yes.
And as well, it was a nice show where it was a lot of new people that hadn't been here before, and I got to kind of get the sense that for some people, it was a big deal for them that they were getting to come and do a spot and stuff, and I was that's cool. I like that we have that impact on people, and less about the idea of even so much the audience, and more focusing in on like the individuals, the creatives, the comedians that are like working in and around the space, and getting to go like, okay, if we can just be like a cool spot for you guys, and we can be like a cool spot that can maybe like, you know, one day when people are looking back on their, you know, career and they've made it and they've done X, Y, and Z, and they go and they're talking about like the spots that they went and did when they were younger and like coming up, and they're like, oh, there was this weird fucking spot that had, you know, a giant Silver Surfer statue, and like I can't remember what it was called, but you know, it had some weird fucking name that no one could pronounce. And like, I don't know, just like that idea so much more resonates with me as an idea of like, that seems like a legacy that's like worth living, than the idea of being like, everyone's gonna know your name, Austin, you know, like, because the biggest thing that I think about is like, can you and me together, even just together, can we together name 20 people from more than 200 years ago?
Exactly. No one remembers anything.
No one remembers literally anything unless you're like a tyrant or like a conqueror or something.
Okay,
like
new career idea. New career idea for us.
Yeah.
We're running.
They're trying to take over another country. Like, there's truly very few people that have any kind of legacy outside of maybe the span of your lifetime. Totally. If you're lucky, you get this span of your lifetime, and someone gets to come up to you and go like, hey, what you did there impacted me and made me want to go and do something, and you get the vague idea that you played some part into someone's life. But end of the day too, you look and you go like, the best of the best are not even the people that are the ones doing that shit. No. Like, imagine how many of the peers of like Plato and, you know, all these like great philosophers were like really on to some shit, but they just didn't get like the publishing deal. They didn't get like access to the one printing press at the time. But they really had like the real.
For the printing press, Brendan, can you stand in line for the printing press for me?
You know what I mean? Like that whole thing of the legacy and all that, like, so much more rather be able to go and say like, wow, we were here, or helped make people laugh. Yes. And helped make people laugh, extended by potentially contributing to people's careers in a way that helped them be able to make more people laugh. Yes. And ultimately, if you like are in service of laughter and like good vibes that aren't like nights that you'll forget, but nights that you'll remember, which I think is the difference between what we do at maybe like nightclub settings or like, you know, bar settings or something like that. You are ultimately, hopefully, in some twisted way, bringing some kind of light and happiness back to the world in some way, even though it sounds like convoluted because we're, you know, in comedy and it's so dark and stupid and whatever. But ultimately, like, it is people laughing and it's people having a good time. Yeah. And it's not commercial. It's not like Disneyland. It's not like this like fake shit where you're like, let's put on the ears and we're 35 and we have no kids, but we're going to die soon because it's the apocalypse. Let's laugh at Disneyland. Like, it's not sad. It's like you're grown adults going and laughing at the absurdity of the world. Yes. And like at someone else's pain or joy or whatever it is. But like, it makes me feel good helping contribute in that way, and like hopefully contributing back to comedians who I am fans of. Yes. And I'm fans of you, and I'm fans of your peers. You know this. I don't need to. I think during last month, not last MOTN show, but at the old MOTN, and there was maybe one night where I was hyping you up too much, and you're like, Austin, I can't even take any more of this. You need to really just chill the fuck out. But I am fans. I'm fans of the people I get to work with, and I'm excited that, you know, you guys are doing cool things, and like, I feel like when you succeed, even though I have no interest of ever being on stage or doing anything like that, it feels proxy in a way where I get to go like, oh, fuck yeah, like that person succeeded, and you get to really actually enjoy their success rather than like maybe, I don't know, but you and like another comedian or something where you get to see somebody that's like, you know, started at the same time as you or something, get an opportunity, and you go like, yay!
No, I'm happy for everyone, and I do not feel the emotion jealousy. I never felt it. No, but you've created like this. I literally say this to every single person, that this is my very favorite place to perform in the entire city and ever. So I'm like, yeah, kind of success already. Rising star.
One day we'll get there.
And you're like 10 years old, so yeah. You're in grade 7.
I am in grade. Yeah, I'm still wearing my suit. It's funny, the suit that I wear to our shows, when everyone will go like, "Oh, you're looking sharp."
Yeah,
it's the same.
You
that's
just
the same
styled it differently.
No, it's the same. It's the exact same blazers I was wearing when I was 13.
Wow,
I had the same jacket.
It's a great suit.
It's a great suit.
Wow, you're ahead of your time.
Maybe. Danika, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for redoing this part. I'm not Jimmy Kimmel. I'm not Jimmy Fallon. I'm not going to pretend like we didn't do this last segment again.
We're breaking the third wall.
Thank you so much. You know I love you. I'm glad I got to know a little bit more about your life, and I'm very excited to see what you do in the next little bit here.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. This has been the In Motion podcast. You have been in motion, and good night.
Woo!
There we go.